The Mixing Bowl Eatery, a once prominent restaurant in Belmore, New York, became the focus of an episode in Gordon Ramsay's renowned TV series, Kitchen Nightmares. This dramatic culinary journey, unfolding in March 2007 but broadcast in October of the same year, marks Season 1, Episode 3 of the show. In the heart of Belmore, a town nestled along the shores of Long Island, Billy and Lisa Galletti, a married couple, assumed ownership and operation of the Mixing Bowl 8 years prior in 1999. Initially, the restaurant enjoyed success, but as time passed, an increasing number of rival establishments sprang up in the vicinity, leading to a significant downturn in the restaurant's fortunes. As the chef of the establishment, Billy masterfully managed the kitchen, while Lisa, with reservations about the restaurant's prospects, took on the role of waitress. This was a recipe for friction, both in their personal lives and the restaurant's operations. Billy is a quiet guy, who barely ever says a word. So to make up for this, they hired a manager who never stops talking. Meet Michael Landsberg, whose love for engaging with customers overshadowed his commitment to improving the business.
What you just said makes absolutely no sense. That doesn't make sense. Shut up.
For years, he'd been distributing half-off discount coupons and plastering signs advertising deals, all while driving the restaurant into deep debt. Adding to the turmoil, Mike's controversial practices extended to skimming a significant portion of the hard-earned tips, firmly convinced that his charisma warranted these extra gratuities. Because of Mike's subpar management, Billy had to take on a variety of extra duties around the restaurant, such as handling repairs, cleaning, and dealing with day-to-day tasks. Billy assumed a wide range of responsibilities to ensure the restaurant's continued operation. All Mike does is eat, drink, and socialize with the customers, while the responsibility of managing the restaurant falls upon Billy and his family. Enter Gordon Ramsay, the uncompromising chef renowned for his no-nonsense approach. When he first sits down to try the food at the Mixing Bowl, he can't quite figure out what type of restaurant it is based off the cuisine on the menu. As such, Mike's self-proclaimed new American culinary identity for the restaurant left Ramsay questioning the establishment's true character. "It sounds like a health spa," says Ramsay, when Mike lists salads and wraps as examples. This understandably frustrates Ramsay, who is bewildered by Mike's audacity in promoting healthy eating. Ramsay, gesturing toward Mike's midsection, questions when the last time he set foot in a gym was.
When was the last time you went to a spa? The gym.
I hate to say it, but it's a valid point. How can someone with that appearance champion a healthy eating ethos? Fortunately, there were glimpses of culinary promise, thanks to Billy's skills in the kitchen. He presented Chef Ramsay with what he referred to as an award-winning crab cake. When Ramsay inquired about the specific award it had won, Mike drew a blank. Nevertheless, Ramsay found the dish to be a rare delight, as he often doesn't like most of the food he tries. Although he believed it fell just short of award-winning quality, it still impressed him. Even though Mike still keeps getting on his nerves this whole time.
May I ask you not to stare at me? I feel really uncomfortable.
No problem.
And then on the beans?
Looks like there's garlic on there.
After his meal, Chef Ramsay decides to head to the kitchen to meet the chef.
Billy's getting a little nervous. Like, am I about to get reamed right now?
Ramsay tells Billy that he liked his crab cakes, but everything else was bland. Mike, upon hearing these critiques, disputes Ramsay's assessment of the food. He informs Ramsay that they recently celebrated their 10th anniversary, during which they gave free food away that, as Mike claims, was adored by everyone.
If you give something away and it's free, who's going to complain about it?
That's a good point. On the other hand, Billy impeccably maintained his kitchen, so much so that it's possibly the first time I've witnessed Ramsay refraining from commenting on the kitchen's condition in a Kitchen Nightmares episode. To gain a complete understanding, Chef Ramsay decides to observe a dinner service. During the service, he had a conversation with Mike regarding the restaurant's promotional strategies. Mike mentioned that they use discount coupons to attract more customers. Well, it makes a lot of sense. A bit of promotion never hurt anyone, right?
You put this 50% off coupon in it.
15.
50, no, 50.
After this shocking revelation, Ramsay returns to the kitchen to verify it with Billy. What's even more alarming is that they've been running the 50% off promotion for the past 8 years. Just imagine how much of the restaurant's revenue was lost due to Mike's poorly implemented tactics. Alongside the significant discounts, Mike also had various promotional signs printed in yet another unsuccessful attempt to boost the restaurant's image. As an example, there was a sign that read, "Now taking reservations," in an effort to create the appearance of a bustling establishment. What's even more surprising is that Mike had a stash of additional signs hidden away, along with heaps of clutter in the restaurant's rear area. Ramsay, clearly unimpressed, bluntly tells him that the signs are of lower quality than those found at a dollar store. The pressing question lingered: what would be the fate of the mixing bowl after a Ramsay-style intervention? Gordon sits down for a heart-to-heart conversation with Lisa and Billy about the future of their restaurant. In his characteristically straightforward fashion, Ramsay emphasizes that they can't depend on Mike to continue acting as a quasi-owner of the establishment. Instead, they must take charge. It's evident that Ramsay holds a genuine fondness for Billy. Yet he does have one concern about him.
I've never ever seen a chef so quiet in all my life.
Chef Ramsay says that maybe Lisa is right, and that maybe they should close the place down that evening. Lisa ponders her decision. On the one hand, she wants to live a normal life. On the other hand, she supports her husband's dreams. Ramsay warns them that if they don't change, then they will be gone in the next 6 weeks' time. Before Ramsay brings in the new, he has to purge the old elements first. In a memorable confrontation, Ramsay compelled Mike to destroy the restaurant's gaudy signage in a wood chipper, effectively clearing the path for a new vision, one centered around wholesome, health-conscious cuisine. You can see from Mike's expression that he doesn't look too happy with the changes. Ever wondered what makes Chef Ramsay appear a tad eccentric? Here's the explanation.
You're mad, man.
Yeah, I am fucking mad. Working with guys like you makes me fucking mad.
Upon returning to the restaurant, Ramsay unfolds a map of the local area. He begins by illustrating the level of competition a decade earlier, in 1997, and then contrasts it with the current state of competition a decade later. The visual transformation reveals that there are now 41 competing restaurants nearby. With so much competition, how would the mixing bowl stand out? Chef Ramsay proposes that they double down on the healthy eating theme, positioning themselves as a healthy choice option in the neighborhood. Following this, Chef Ramsay dives into the task of crafting dishes for the revamped healthy menu. He proposes a friendly culinary challenge to Billy, where they each prepare a dish, and the superior one will earn a spot on the evening's menu. However, Ramsay is so taken aback by Billy's creation that he opts to showcase both dishes on the menu. The stoic-looking Billy actually starts to perk up a little bit after Ramsay's compliment on his food. Lisa, however, still has doubts about whether or not it will be enough to save the restaurant. Mike's persistent behavior continues to grate on Chef Ramsay's nerves.
Said before that don't point at customers. We're running a restaurant, not a fucking zoo.
After the service, Ramsay gathers the staff to hear their concerns. The waitresses voice their objections to Mike's habit of taking 50% of the restaurant's tips. In response, Mike contends that his personality is a major draw for the customers, asserting that without him, the restaurant would attract significantly fewer diners. Chef Ramsay points out to Billy that Mike sometimes behaves as though it's his restaurant, due to Billy's passive approach. At last, Billy finds his voice and confronts Mike.
These are things you need to do. I now need to step up to the plate and make the changes every freaking day, every minute of the day. That's it.
It's reassuring to see Billy become more assertive as an owner. However, Mike takes it lightly and chuckles, despite Ramsay's comment that he's only grinning because it's not his restaurant. In true Gordon Ramsay fashion, the restaurant underwent a transformation that infused it with new energy and made it more appealing to both its patrons and staff. Ramsay's discerning eye for detail and culinary expertise guided a renovation that not only altered the restaurant's physical appearance, but also reignited the passion of the staff. They traded in their plain wooden chairs for elegant suede armchairs that appear exceptionally comfortable. After seeing the new menu, focused on lighter and healthier fare, the owners start to really begin to see hope for the restaurant. Smaller portions with lighter food is exactly what they needed. To promote the grand relaunch of the mixing bowl, Ramsay, Lisa, and Mike head out in town to hand out flyers promoting the event. They introduced a healthy menu to gym goers at a local gym, many of whom back in 2007 were not yet familiar with Gordon Ramsay.
Yes, Gordon.
This scene eventually became a widely recognized internet meme. To mark the grand relaunch, they extended an invitation to the entire New York Dragons football team for dinner that evening. As the long-anticipated reopening approached, optimism filled the air. However, Mike, a reoccurring source of trouble, managed to disrupt the proceedings yet again. Mike had overbooked the reservations, forgetting about the entire Dragons team showing up. Overbooking reservations and causing chaos on the restaurant's reopening night threw the Mixing Bowl's future into uncertainty. The restaurant was experiencing its first packed house in years, but Mike seemed to be causing trouble. When approached about it, he began to raise his voice and create a scene in full view of the customers.
I wasn't told! That's it! Seriously, I'm pissed off! Dragons on the paper!
After that emotional outburst, Ramsay asked Mike to leave the restaurant. With Mike gone, Chef Ramsay had a candid conversation with Lisa and Billy, making it clear that their primary issue is Mike. The episode concludes with a positive, yet somewhat uncertain tone. Will they make the tough decision to let go of Mike for the restaurant's sake? And can the restaurant secure its long-term success? Surprisingly, Billy decided to give Mike a second chance, despite his history of causing issues. The choice meant that Mike continued as the manager even after Ramsay's departure, symbolizing a belief in a possible turnaround for the restaurant. When Ramsay returned the following year for a follow-up visit, the restaurant displayed noticeable improvements, offering a glimmer of hope amidst the turbulent journey. Upon arrival, Billy warmly welcomes him with a big smile on his face. He looks like a changed man. The dedication of the staff and Ramsay's expert guidance have yielded remarkable results, with the restaurant's performance surging to levels 3 to 4 times higher than before, according to Billy. Mike is still at the restaurant. They didn't fire him. The good news is that the 50% off coupons and those awful promotional signs out front are gone. Lastly, he meets up with Lisa again, who was the one who had the most reservations about the place succeeding. Fortunately, she has no regrets at this point. She even says Mike has really turned around and is completely different now. There's no more yelling, and they are happy that they didn't sell the restaurant when they previously thought they might. Best of all, Billy talks now.
I talk now.
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's true.
Ramsay leaves for a second time, but not before giving them his own Seal of Approval award for consistent quality. He tells them all how proud they have made him. Once again, the visit from Gordon ends on a high note. It's been more than 16 years now since the original episode aired. A lot can happen in that time. What happened to the Mixing Bowl after Kitchen Nightmares? The Mixing Bowl shut its doors in January 2009, approximately 1 year and 3 months after the Kitchen Nightmares episode was broadcast. Interestingly enough, the reality is that the restaurant had closed just prior to the filming of the episode in March 2007. In essence, the sole reason for the restaurant's reopening was to feature on Kitchen Nightmares. When you take into account that the restaurant was essentially on the verge of closing when Gordon Ramsay arrived, it's quite remarkable that it managed to remain in operation for nearly 2 years following his visit. Billy stated that it was more profitable to be a consultant to restaurants in the poor economy, as this took place during the Great Recession, when a lot of businesses went under as a result of the poor economy. In 2011, Billy Galletti founded Junior Alta Foods Inc., located in Plainsview, New York. The company operates in the food wholesale industry, supplying restaurants with frozen food, which he continues to run to this day. An internet rumor once circulated, mistakenly suggesting that Billy had passed away. This confusion arose when some users mixed him up with Joseph Cerniglia, the owner of Campania, another restaurant featured on the first season of Kitchen Nightmares, who tragically took his own life. The building that housed the Mixing Bowl went on to host several restaurants over the following decade. In 2010, it became the Greek Delight. The new owners were all too happy to keep much of Chef Ramsay's interior changes, as the muted color scheme worked well for the restaurant interior, including those comfy-looking suede armchairs, while making their own small cosmetic changes to the interior. In 2016, the building became another Greek restaurant called Orexy Greek American Grill. While Orexy kept the interior paint job, they swapped out those comfy-looking suede seats Ramsay put in for some stodgy-looking wooden chairs. Not sure why they would have done that, but oh well, their choice. It changed hands again in 2018 to become Morpheus, yet another Greek place. Morpheus painted the interior white, along with blue drapes in a standard Greek color scheme. It looks like Morpheus closed at the start of the pandemic and never reopened. It was finally replaced by Anthony's Kitchen and Cocktails in 2020, an Italian restaurant that has been very successful so far. They also remodeled the interior once again in a wood panel design. Overall, it seems to be a well-run restaurant that will hopefully last longer than the previous tenants, where it changed hands 4 times in the past 10 years. But I guess that's what the restaurant business is like. What happened to Mike from the Mixing Bowl after the episode surprised many fans and even Gordon Ramsay himself. Billy didn't fire Mike at the end of the original episode, and decided to give the restaurant's manager another chance to prove himself after the issues at the relaunch. But it turns out that Mike's second chance wasn't the last twist in his story. In a June 2023 interview with LongIsland.com, Mike shared that he had faced a rare form of male breast cancer diagnosis in 2020. Fortunately, there's a silver lining to his story. Mike has made a remarkable and full recovery, and he is currently thriving. He has taken on the role of executive chef and general manager at Jackson Hole American Bar and Grill. There, he continues to fundraise for the Male Breast Cancer Global Alliance. He maintains an active social media presence, regularly sharing life updates and posts. Let's dive into what transpired in the lives of Lisa and Billy after their Kitchen Nightmares experience. Notably, Billy embarked on a new entrepreneurial journey, founding his own company. However, when it comes to Lisa's post-Kitchen Nightmares professional endeavors, it's been a bit challenging to uncover any detailed information. Her life beyond the show remains somewhat of a mystery, with limited public information available. While we may not have all the details of their post-Kitchen Nightmares journey, we can only hope for a future filled with happiness, success, and continued family bonds. Here's to a bright and fulfilling future for this resilient and determined couple.